Hello everybody. Today we're going to talk about Unreal Engine as always. My name is Bruno Cav, and this beside me is
Alex.
And today we're talking about things in Unreal Engine that gives us headaches, especially for us who do virtual production. Obviously, Unreal Engine is the best there is when it comes to doing video games and even virtual production. Everybody's been using that, but that's another story. Everybody knows about that. But today we're going to share our own experience with Unreal Engine and the functions, the tools that it lacks that makes us wish we were the bosses at Epic and we could change those things by ourselves. So who are we? We are a small, maybe to medium-sized studio based out of China. And for us specifically, we only shoot live, so everything we're going to talk about today is based on our own experience. We are by no means experts. We just love what we do, and we do projects. And when doing those projects, we encounter issues that are not our fault most of the time, and we constantly see ourselves needing tools that Unreal Engine should have, but instead we have to spend quite a lot of money to replace the built-in tools that UE has when it comes to virtual production. We only do live, we do not shoot post-process video, so this only applies to the things that we do. That's why it's personal experience. So Allison, can you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Yeah, my name is Alex, and what I'm usually doing in this studio is photography part and just the light cameras and animations. Basically in the UE mostly, and some I create some those 3D models and those blueprints, and if you're necessarily using it, and those 3D environments. I create all this if we are going to use it in the live streaming.
Our Unreal Engine journey has been not that long, but interesting. I just started one day checking how to build a desert in Unreal Engine, and from that a spark, there was a spark in my heart. I wanted to do more with that. And then later on we were able to set up a company, and Alexon came along, and we all do all sorts of things. But anyways, the main topic today is what tools Unreal Engine lacks for virtual production. Not for big budgets, not for big companies, for small to medium, for indies. That is, I guess, most of us who post content for YouTube. For me personally, and remember, this is I can't stress this enough, is only for live, because we only do live shows. We do not shoot commercials. We only do live shows. And the single most important thing that I think Epic has been neglecting for a long time. I know Epic has been building a lot of tools for VP, but I think the keyer inside Unreal Engine, the green keyer, is shit. Yeah. Why do I say that? Because I guess I'm gonna have to stress this a couple of times. We only do live, so we cannot just take out the video and put it in DaVinci later and just key it out. We need to key live. So because we only do it live, it's completely useless. And the thing is, a keyer, when you're doing live keying, it's pretty expensive if you're using third party. UE is free, but when you add up the cost of doing live keying, the cost can be astronomical. For example, what choices do we have for keyer? Ultimate.
Yeah,
Ultimate is beautiful. I want to have an Ultimate as my pillow. I want to sleep beside my Ultimate because it's such a beautiful thing. But look at the menus of that thing. There's so many menus, and I've been put off by the menus for a long time because they're not even clear what they do, and some of them don't do anything. Some of them you click on them and nothing happens. Obviously, after you spend some time with it, it's the best. But it's also a couple of $1,000 if you're using 4K. If you're doing live keying in 4K, obviously you don't have to do live keying in 4K, but that's what everybody aims for. But yeah, automatic expensive. You have hardware-based keyers like Xymetry does a fantastic job in keying. However, it is not cheap either. And if you're a small company, if you're taking advantage of the fact that UE is free, it's not really free after you add all those things, the extra equipment. So Xymetry comes along pretty well, but the keyer in Xymetry also uses computing power. So you're stuck basically if you want to save money and do some like in bedroom shooting or my grandmother's attic studio. So you're stuck basically with the keyer. So I'm very hopeful that in the future, obviously we have a budget now to do what we want, but we didn't have one before, and that stopped us from doing amazing keys. Yeah, hopefully Epic fixes this. You don't have to do an in-engine world-class keyer, but you have to have something that can be usable. That's the first thing, my first pet peeve with Unreal Engine 4 VP. Now on to Alexon. What is
Yeah, back to the keyer things. I want to say is we're talking about on station of you're using a green screen wall or paper as your background. So we're not talking about LED things. That would be like whole other thing. That would be too expensive for filming industries. But for like green screens, that keyer is something necessary that you have to use it. Of course, you can use like UE keyers when you're learning it. But as a result, if you want to get a really real stable result and you want to make money through it, that UE keyer is totally unusable. So, but to invest a promising keyer, that will took more than you imagine from beginning.
Yeah, the keyer is too expensive. Third-party keyers. When you're learning using the UE built-in one is okay, but you can't learn forever. And the Ultimate, especially the 4K Ultimate, can cost more than a decent computer. So yes, not everybody has to use the Ultimate. You can use Xymetry, but Xymetry is also expensive. I'm just repeating myself. But just before someone comes and say, oh, you can use DaVinci or no, we're just talking about live, that we're just sharing what we do and the pains that we have experienced and why, and advice that we can and help, I don't know, to anybody out there who is looking for some solutions. Maybe we can help because probably we've been through what you have. What is
So back to my things, I want to talk about tracker because if you want to do like the virtual production with your camera move, you have to use a tracker. The tracker is something like to make let your camera move, and at the same time your virtual camera in Unreal Engine is moving at the same time. They are moving at the same way. For example, if your camera moving to left 1 meter and your virtual camera is moving to left 1 meter too, and they're like moving at the same step, totally. But so there are different ways. There are different trackers, and they are using different technologies. So we're using right layer, or what's it called, right?
Anti-latency.
Yeah. The technique is using the right ray.
Infrared.
Infrared? Okay.
Maybe I'm not even sure because I hate it. But
yeah, there's some like using light thing, but light is kind of wave. So wave it have higher part and there is a lower part. So that means your digital is not your digital information is not stable. It's something like this. So that will make something when you put your camera there. When you're not moving it, your virtual camera still gets some unstable digital numbers. That will make your virtual camera shaking. Some like very small shaking, but that just broken all your picture there. So that's one thing. And there is one thing called lag. There's two lags actually. For one is called is normal lag. For example, it's kind of physics like. If you want to put your data from your camera to your computer is physicalized. Your computer needs time to compute it. That's something you can fix. But there is another lag is there is something another lag is is kind of like because the thing I was saying is the ray lag, the infrared lag, infrared lag, and that thing will change everything. For example, if you move your camera to left a little bit, but your virtual camera is not moving at the same time and same distance, that will make everything so fake, and people will recognize that by one side.
Yeah, the problem with tracker is that it's not accessible to most people yet. Yeah, but you done, or you have more to say about tracker?
I mean, like there are different trackers. There are some good tracker, really good tracker. You can get really stable data from it. For example, you can use a machine arm which there is a kind of machine arm that can transform data, and that one is stable. And there is something called something like mocap days. There are some like a white ball on all your from all your space. But for example, if you want to use that, you gotta have a big space bigger enough to install all of those things. So and tracker itself is very expensive. So if you're a small or medium-sized studio, you are not going to consider use it.
Yeah, actually, tracker has come a long way the past few years. Obviously, now we have phones that can do amazing tracking. So for indie companies, tracking is not really that big of a problem anymore. Obviously, for medium to high size companies, tracking is pretty damn expensive. The thing is, just for me personally, we're not a big studio, we're a small to medium sized studio. And for us, I think the value that a tracker adds is not equivalent to the money we put on it. I think tracking is completely overrated because the way things are right now is you need to have a tracker to do virtual production. It's a requirement now. Obviously, I'm just saying this in what I mean is, every time a newcomer or someone fresh comes into virtual production, he would just read a bunch of articles that say that tracking is blah, blah, blah. I think tracking adds little value in comparison to the amount of money you have to shell out. So, yeah, and also the tracker's ability is limited by your space. If you have a small space like we do, tracking is not really that necessary because we can't utilize most of its potential. So yes, I know tracking tracking is meant for big budgets. Yeah. The price is not meant for indies. Still things are changing. iPhone tracking, all that kind of thing. But iPhones get really hot, and I think it's just frustrating to use trackers because they're just too expensive. And for small companies, I think the value they add it's minimal. Obviously, if you use Xymetry, you don't need to do. You can mimic tracking to some extent beautifully, but that again, like I said, it's extra cost. My second point of frustration with UE for virtual production is live inputs into Unreal Engine. What do I mean by that? Let's say we have an SDI camera. You can use an HDMI camera too, but you output it to your graphics card. You need to create a bunch of materials. Obviously, everybody has to do that. It's not a pain in the ass. We've learned how to do that. It takes minutes. By minutes, I mean over 5 minutes to set up materials. I think that shouldn't be the problem. I think materials, there should be toolkits, built-in engine that the moment you plug in your camera, everything is made for you painlessly, effortlessly. But for now, every camera input, you need materials. And not only that, I think it shouldn't be like that. It's just personal opinion. I just think things should just work fast. On top of that, after you set up your camera inside Unreal, you still need to deal with color profile problems. OCIO.
That is not just, I think that is not a UE problem, that's a kind of industry problem.
Standard problem. But the thing is, and I think, I don't know, for game developers, anti-aliasing, or however you pronounce that, is indispensable but for virtual production, it's a pain in the ass to set up everything correctly, camera, color, calibration, everything. And still, I think OCIO is too complicated. Not for us anymore, but for a long time it was, dealing with OCIO color profiles on cameras. And it takes a while just to set up your camera correctly. So I think this is one thing that UE should simplify. What about you, Alexon? Another point.
Yeah, I want to follow you by the budget on the tracker things, because like if you don't have budget, or you don't have like a plan, you can spend money as much as you want. The tracker is the thing you will be very welcome. But there is a budget I suggest that you can just use your phone. Phone is. It's the phone, because you have a phone, you can just use it. Because if you put same money on a graphic card, on camera, and on tracker, if you put your money on graphic card, that improve is amazing. That is huge improve. On your camera, you can get a sharp result, but for the tracker, the improve might make you disappointed.
Yeah, I think it's just too overhyped, the trackers.
Yeah, but if you have unlimited tracker, that will be a huge difference.
Also, setting up tracker is hell. It's just this is not a UE problem, but setting up any.
Yeah, and there is something not just UE, because tracker is using some physical things. There is something the cost limits us. You can't do that.
So yeah, for UE, I think my biggest pain points should be obviously we're making the video for newcomers, because we've already overcome this problem, but it was just a painful time, overcoming especially keying problems, tracking problems. Yeah, and anything else that you think is a pain point in the UE? Yeah, anti-aliasing. I just don't like anti-aliasing. It just messes up everything. Then you have to, for live, I need to remind you again, for live production, live videos, live stream, that's what I'm talking about. Then it makes you have to use third parties, which costs a lot of money. So yeah, some of you may say, well, live production is not something cheap, so you need to get used to it. That you need to know what you're getting into. But no, that's not the case, because it's become increasingly more popular. Everybody is able to do that now, and most people are doing that out of their the bedroom, and they will encounter these problems. Keying, tracking, materials, setting up everything just takes such a long time. I hope they improve that.
Yeah, I think they should just develop a toolkit, because the material thing is not something very complicated. It's something very easy. You just need to do it repeatedly. So if there is a toolkit, you can just track your media, and there is a material comes out, that will be way more easier. Colors is something they can fix, but for the media toolkit, I think that's a very easy thing. If I can program, I can do that easily.
Yeah, we still love UE. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't have UE. How else can you do all this? All the things we do. UE is awesome. I just think that some of the problems that UE has could be fixed easily. And I'm pretty sure it's on Epic's back burner. They know about these problems. They have plans to fix it. They're probably not prioritizing these things for the moment. I love UE. What do you like the most about UE? Building stuff, meshes, environment, or?
There's something I love it, but both at the same time, I hate them too. For example, Lumen. Yeah, Lumen is something like low-level ray tracing, but it gives you like a very good result, just like you're using ray tracing. But sometimes if you're setting the Lumen wrong or there's something goes wrong with your shadow. Lumen has a very strange shadow somehow. Your shadow is keep flickering sometimes.
The best things about UE are also the worst things about UE. Yeah, Lumen nanite, which is supposed to be amazing, is not amazing because nanite causes lots of problems. It's one thing because all of these problems, Lumen problems and nanite problems, they're hidden problems. They're not things that you know they will happen, so you just go about fixing them. The thing about nanite is some of your projects might have nanite problems and you might spend days finding the problem. And after you spend days finding the problem, you spend even more days finding the solution. The same with Lumen. So yeah, UE is pretty strong, but it's been frustrating dealing with some small problems that can completely ruin your project, your live project, especially when you have actors who are doing live streams and you have everybody set up, everything's been rain checked, and then suddenly there are problems with nanite and Lumen. But yeah, it is what it is. UE is free, but
To use it to make it
to make it for virtual production, no, it is not free because you need to shell out a bunch of money to make it usable. Yeah, so that's it for today. We just wanted to share with you guys. If you guys have any comments, if you have similar experiences, if you want to know more about us, yeah, man, let's just chat. These videos, we call them mini podcasts. They're not long. They might be longer next time, but we're just shooting these videos just so we can communicate with everybody, so we can learn from each other. We're by no means experts. We're just learning as we go. What do you have to say last, Alexson?
Oh, there is a common mistake that most of people from beginner will make is you cannot use lumen shadow and ray tracing shadow at the same time.
Yeah, they will come across videos from William Faulcher. Do you know that person? I learned a lot from him. Shout out to you. Yes, you can't. It's like tricky to use them together. But that's beginners with Unreal Engine, not for VP.
Yeah, but still, virtual production is still a very promising technology that you can achieve the virtual scenes by using a computer very easily. You don't have to spend those huge budgets to build those real things. You can just achieve those things by using a computer. That is something amazing. You can't imagine that a decade ago.
So yeah, that's all for today. And I hope to see everybody later. Good luck with your projects in UE. If you have any questions, let us know. And that's it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.